friends, I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 20th of May and we are going to deal with three very important topics which are in news. IMD heatwave alert for North India. The Indian Meteorological Department has issued a red alert for North India. Why? Because severe heat waves are being experienced in the northern parts of the country. First, let us understand what heat waves are. Heat waves are fatal to the humans. Quantitatively, if any place in the plains, the temperature crosses 40 degrees Celsius, hills crosses 30 degrees Celsius and coastal areas crosses 37 degrees Celsius, and the temperature deviation from the long-term average of the temperature of that particular place is around 4.5 degrees Celsius to 6.4 degrees Celsius, then a heat wave like condition is declared. These conditions should prevail for minimum 2 days and on the second day it is declared. An extreme or a severe heat wave is when the temperature deviance is more than 6.4 degrees Celsius. A lot of precautions need to be taken by the people. Drinking lots of water, lassi, torani, avoid going out in the noon time, that is 12 noon to 3 p.m. If any heat stroke happens, then you need to hydrate yourself, cool down the body and visit the hospital as soon as possible. Next is rules for political parties to use state-funded media during polls. When it comes to state-funded media, the thing is Doordarshan and All India Radio. They both are under this parent company called as Prasar Bharati. Opposition leaders, ruling party leaders, both are given the opportunity to use their time on these two, I would say, state broadcasters channels. And the Election Commission of India fixed the times. The Election Commission of India fixed the rules, what can be said, what cannot be said. And now CPIM leader Mr. Sitaram Yechury has said that his speech on Doordarshan was censored by the officials of Prasar Bharati. Prasar Bharati officials said that we were just following the guidelines of ECI which they issued to us. So this is the scene. Next is VISHING. VISHING, V stands for voice call and ishing here stands for phishing. Phishing is an attack in which the cyber attacker sends you an email or a link through message and you click on that link, your cyber security is compromised. Now in VISHING, a voice call will be there from someone from the authority and they will be duping themselves to be someone from the authority and they will be guiding you that your cyberspace is at threat. I have sent you a link. You click on that link to safeguard your cyber security. You do that. It is not meant to safeguard your cyber security. It is meant to compromise on your cyber security. Your cyber security gets compromised as soon as you click on that link. So Government of India has issued advisories for phishing attacks, especially to the government servants. We all should be very careful for these kind of new attacks. Now let's get started with the first topic, that is, IMD heat wave warnings issued for North India. Now places in North India: Delhi, Punjab, Haryana and most parts of western Rajasthan, a red alert is there. Sunday, that is May 19, and it has also said that these heat wave like conditions will be there for the 5 days beginning on Sunday. Indeed, it is very, very hot. I am here in Delhi. It is very, very hot, kind of unbearable if you go out in the open, and we should avoid going out in the open. Now Delhi, Chandigarh and other three major cities in these states have recently witnessed temperatures of around 44 degrees Celsius, and one weather station in Delhi, that is Najafgarh, the temperature was somewhere between 47 to 48 degrees Celsius. That was actually scary. So this is what it is, but we need to understand as aspirants, it becomes important that what is a heat wave. So heat wave we are listening, but technically speaking, what is a heat wave? So according to IMD's website, qualitatively, a heat wave is a condition of air temperature which becomes fatal to human body when exposed to it. So it is fatal. And quantitatively, how a heat wave is measured? It is basically based on the temperature thresholds over a region in terms of actual temperature or its departure from normal. What is the actual temperature of that region and how much it is departed from the normal long-term average of that region. So long-term average temperature of every region will be different, which technically means that heat wave conditions for every region will be different. As we move ahead, I'll give you an example also. Quantitative heat wave. What is or how quantitatively we can measure heat wave? So first of all, we have divided areas like hilly areas, plain areas, coastal areas. So when I talk about, plains, 40 degrees Celsius and more than it should be the temperature of plain areas for a heat wave to be declared. For hilly regions, it should be more than 30 degrees Celsius. For coastal areas, it should be more than 37 degrees Celsius. So this is the primary condition, that temperatures should be above these temperatures. Apart from it, there is one more condition which has to be met, that temperature deviance of 4.5 degrees Celsius to 6.4 degrees Celsius should be there from the normal temperature of that region to be declared as a heat wave. Now let's suppose a hilly region is there, and of that hilly region, the average temperature is 28 degrees Celsius. Nowadays, the temperature is 34 degrees Celsius, and this temperature remains for 2 days. A hilly region. So temperature deviance 6 degrees Celsius. Temperature more than 30 degrees Celsius, that is 34 degrees Celsius, that is a heat wave will be declared. So both these things should be there. For 30 degrees Celsius in hilly areas, more than 30 degrees Celsius the temperature should be, and temperature deviance should be in this range. Such temperatures must be recorded at least at 2 stations in a meteorological subdivision and at least 2 consecutive days. And the heat wave is declared on the second day only. It is not like if one day this has reached, the other day it is normal, so heat wave will not be declared. For 2 consecutive days it should be there. Then only a heat wave condition will be declared. What is a severe heat wave? Now here the deviation is more than 6.4 degrees Celsius. For a normal heat wave to be declared, it was 4.5 to 6.4 degrees Celsius. This much deviation should be there. But here, if the deviation is more than 6.4 degrees Celsius, it is considered as a severe heat wave. And May is the peak month for heat waves in India. What is red alert? Red alert is basically the highest level of alert, and it simply means extreme heat warning. Now when it is issued, a severe heat wave has persisted for more than 2 days, or the total number of heat or severe heat wave days has been more than 6 days. So in this condition, a red alert will be issued. What can be its impact? It is very high likelihood of developing heat illness and heat stroke, especially in vulnerable section of the population like infants, elderlies, or to those people who are vulnerable to chronic diseases and all. These kind of, I would say, temperature conditions can definitely develop heat strokes among them. It is highly advisable for these people, especially the infants, the elderlies, to drink lots of water, avoid going out in the sun. You should not be going out in the sun. And for young ones also, it is advisable not to go out in the sun. Now, this is a color chart which has been issued by IMD itself. So green, normal day, maximum temperatures are near normal. Yellow alert, heat alert it is, heat wave conditions at isolated pockets persist on 2 days. Orange alert, severe heat alert for the day. Severe heat wave conditions persist for 2 days. True, not severe, but heat wave persist for 4 days or more. And red alert, extreme heat alert for the day. Severe heat wave persists for more than 2 days. Total number of heat or severe heat wave days exceeding 6 days. So this is what has been issued for northern India. Now what measures can be taken? So according to National Disaster Management Authority is responsible for tackling disasters and all in the country. So this is kind of a disaster only, this heat waves, and according to many studies from the western countries and all, there have been conditions in which or there have been studies in which it has been clarified that heat waves have connectivity with global warming or climate change. The frequency of heat waves, intensity of heat waves, length of heat wave days, all are linked to climate change also. But anyways, what is the advisory? What measures can be taken? Avoid going out in the sun, especially noon to 3 p.m. If you work outside, use a hat or an umbrella. Drink sufficient water as often as possible. Wear lightweight, light-colored, loose and porous cotton clothes. Wear protective goggles and umbrella, hat, shoes or chappals while going out. Avoid alcohol, teas, coffee and carbonated soft drinks which dehydrate the body. Drink ORS, homemade drinks like lassi, torani, torani's rice water, lemon water, buttermilk, etc. What action can be taken if a heat stroke is experienced by an individual? First is lay the person in a cool place, wash the body frequently, wipe them with a wet cloth, pour normal temperature water on the head. The main aim is to bring down the temperature of the body. Then give the person ORS, lemon sharbat, Turan, hydrate the body. And most importantly, take the person to the nearest health center after doing all this. Why? Because heat strokes can be fatal. We should not be ignoring. Even if you see that the person is getting normal, you just, for the safer side, take that person to the nearest hospital. And you might see the person recovering at that time, but you never know. There may be a collapse later on. So that needs to be understood and taken care of. Now, rules for political parties to use state-funded media during polls. Political parties means all political parties, whether ruling or opposition. State-funded media means Doordarshan, All India Radio. They are under the control of the state, so it does not mean that the ruling political party will only use them. This can be used by opposition parties as well. So, two opposition leaders, Communist Party of India Marxist General Secretary Sitaram Yechuri and All India Forward Bloc leader G. Devarajan, were asked to make certain changes to their speeches made on Doordarshan and All India Radio during the allocated broadcast time in the run-up to the ongoing Lok Sabha elections. So, Prasar Bharati is basically India's state-run public broadcaster and the parent organization of these two, Doordarshan and All India Radio. Now, what were the changes made, or why were the changes made, or what kind of changes were they asked to make? So, Yechuri had to delete references to the electoral bond scheme, drop terms communal authoritarian regime and draconian laws, and replace bankruptcy of governance with failure of governance. So these much changes Sitaram Yechuri had to make. And who instructed Mr. Sitaram Yechuri to make those changes? Basically the officials in Prasar Bharati. Who are the officials in Prasar Bharati? The Indian Information Service Officers, which is one of the cadres of services in UPSC only once you give the exam. Devarajan was made to remove the word Muslims from his speech about Citizenship Amendment Act. Obviously they were not happy about it. They said that this is censorship by the state. We are not having freedom of speech and expression. Now, what is the basis of these changes demanded by Prasar Bharati? So according to Prasar Bharati officials, the TV and radio networks were simply following the rules set by Election Commission of India. So they clearly said that we have not set these rules. The Election Commission of India has set these rules and we are simply following those rules. We are simply following those guidelines. What are the guidelines? We will see abhi. So this is what they said. How much time is allocated? So we should understand this, that how much time is allocated. Recognized political parties. Recognized political parties means state parties and central parties are only allowed time, or are only allocated time. They have been allowed to freely use state-owned television and radio during polls since the 1998 Lok Sabha election. So since then they are allowed to use. The Election Commission of India decides how much time each recognized national and state party will be allotted prior to the start of the election campaign. Then national parties all put together, there are 6 national parties as of now, get a minimum of 10 hours of telecasting time on Doordarshan's national channel and at least 15 hours on the regional channels of Doordarshan. They also get 10 hours of broadcasting time on national hookup of All India Radio and 15 hours of broadcasting on the regional All India radio stations. So all put together 10 hours, all put together 15 hours in regional channels and 10 hours and 15 hours respectively in central and regional channel of All India Radio. State parties, there are around 59 state parties as of now, all put together get a minimum of 30 hours of telecasting time on the appropriate regional Doordarshan channel and AIR radio station. So this is the time they get. How has the time been allocated in 2024? What has the formula for allocating time in 2024? So on March 28th, Election Commission of India allocated broadcast and telecast time to each of the 6 national parties. So 6 national parties: Aam Aadmi Party, Bahujan Samaj Party, Bharatiya Janata Party, Communist Party of India Marxist, Congress and Conrad Sagma's National People's Party, and 59 state parties for 2024 elections. The formula for division: so for national parties we are seeing, out of the 10 hours prescribed, a total of 4.5 hours 45 minutes each to these 6 parties was allocated in both Doordarshan and All India Radio, and the remaining 5.5 hours was further allocated on the basis of vote share in 2019 Lok Sabha election. So in total collectively 10 hours were given. So 4.5 hours, 45 minutes each to 6 political parties, national parties, and the remaining 5.5 hours out of 10 hours, that also has to be distributed among 6 parties. It is basically distributed on the basis of vote share received in the last general elections of 2019. So on that basis, this is divided. Okay. Similar formula was allowed while allocating time for state parties. Now guidelines for speeches to be delivered. What are the guidelines? And these guidelines, those Prasar Bharati officials were following, and the speeches were, altered. So parties and their speakers are expected to submit transcripts of their speeches 3 to 4 days before recording. These have to be approved by the concerned authorities in the respective All India Radio and Doordarshan stations. The ECI's guidelines forbid criticism of other countries, attack on religions or communities, anything obscene or defamatory, incitement of violence, anything amounting to contempt of court, aspersions against the integrity of the President and the judiciary, anything affecting the unity, sovereignty and integrity of the nation, and any criticism by the name of any person. So all these guidelines have to be followed, and the Prasar Bharati officials can deny or may enforce changes in the speeches based on these guidelines or issued by the Election Commission of India. And now the last piece of news, that is VISHING. So V in VISHING basically stands for voice call. A voice call is received. The person on the call pretends to be someone from or in the authority, maybe a government department official or the telecom company official. Phishing is a cyber attack that involves sending fraudulent messages that appear to come from a legitimate source, such as email or text messages. And in these email or text messages, there will be a link. You click on that link and your cyberspace is compromised. This is what phishing attacks are, and phishing attacks have been quite common. Now what is VISHING? Now in VISHING, someone from the authority or someone from, let's suppose a telecom company will call you and say that it has come to our notice that there has been attempts to attack your cyberspace. Now as a company, it is our responsibility that your cyberspace remains safe, and for that we are sending you a message or an email on your registered email ID with us, and there is a link on that. You click on that link and your cyberspace will be safe, or whatever they will tell you further steps also, and you will feel okay, I should do it, I should be securing my cyberspace. You follow their instructions and your cyberspace gets compromised instead of getting safe. So this is how it happens. See, this tech support voice phishing scam. This person calls you, the cyber criminal poses as a support agent and informs the victim about suspicious activities on her account. She gets fearful and she said, what kind of suspicious activity? This person will say, someone has tried to attack your cyberspace. So she will be very much, there will be a sense of fear over here. Then the victim is invited to download an update including malicious software. So she downloads that update, that is basically a malicious software, a malware, and due to the download of that malware, her cyberspace is compromised instead of getting strengthened. The attacker has now full control over the victim's device and can do anything he wants with it. So this is basically VISHING. How to spot a VISHING scam? It can be a pre-recorded message aiming to instill fear in you. It can be a call from a government servant, whether in reality they will not call you. The caller may be using fear and urgency tactics. Poor audio quality, where if you listen carefully, there could be robotic voices from the background. So be very careful and alert. Also make your near and dear ones alert and careful, that nobody will call you to make your cyberspace secure. Don't follow their instructions. Instead, if some kind of call comes to them like this, ask them to connect with you, because you know that it is VISHING now and they don't know. So be very alert and careful. Coming to the MCQs. Consider the following statements and mark the correct one. First is, a heat wave is a condition which can be fatal to human beings. Second is, in hill areas, if the temperature deviation from the normal is 5 degrees Celsius and absolute temperature is above 30 degrees Celsius of a place, for even one day, a heat wave is declared by IMD. Among these, which is correct? Only one, only two, both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. Second is, which of the following are conditions to declare a red alert for heat waves by IMD? A severe heat wave for 7 days, a heat wave condition for 4 days, a severe heat wave condition for 2 days, none of the above. Third is, consider the following statements and mark the correct one. First statement, the time allocated for recognized parties to use the state broadcaster during elections was started as a practice from 1992. The Prasar Bharati can regulate the content being aired on AIR and Doordarshan by political representatives during elections. Fourth question, which among these parties is a national party? So there is a list of 5 parties. Among these you have to answer which is a national party nowadays, and it is factual, but yes, do it very carefully. And the last is, recently a term vishing was in news. What it refers to? A hack in the EVMs, that is electronic voting machines, a cyber crime in which a voice call will be received to create fear, a cyber crime in which a call will be received and you will be made to download an app or click on a link, both B and C. So these are the MCQs which we expect you to attempt, and we've also established a mechanism in which you will be getting the answers not by me but by the team only, and keep attempting it. You will be better and better day by day. And with this, we come to an end of today's session. I will be meeting you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. Keep studying, keep reading, keep writing, keep watching the videos, and most importantly, keep revising. Namaste. Jai Hind.